Morning. It is my good karma to be invited back. I always enjoy being with you. And quite amazing karma that by sheer coincidence, I'm here when I have a new book to promote. So, you all know the expression from the Bible that we reap what we sow. You use it, no doubt, in your speech. You probably hear people say, or say yourself, that what goes around comes around. And I'm sure you all use the term karma in your speech, and you know all the lyrics to Taylor Swift's song, Karma. Or maybe Alicia Keys' song, Karma, or Willie Nelson's old-fashioned Karma. So all of those kinds of words and expressions, we use them because we like to think that there's some form of cosmic justice in the universe. They all point to that. They say that there's that cause and effect is at work in the cosmos, and that what we do has consequences that reverberate out into the universe and somehow, sometime, some way, come back to us. Good, bad, indifferent. And that's essentially what karma means. But of course, it's a lot more nuanced and subtle and complicated than that. But basically, that's what it means. And that's why we've adopted the term from the Eastern traditions in such a big way, so that it shows up in commercials and brand names and sitcoms. And there's even a wheelchair I was at a friend's house, so she was in a wheelchair she broke a leg, and the brand of the wheelchair was Karma. And I thought, either they're saying, this bad karma, you need a wheelchair, or good karma, you have our brand of... So the real question is, how many of you believe that the universe is a fair and just place, and that karma, as you understand it, is real? How many? Let's see. Okay. How many absolutely think it's nonsense and the universe is not built that way? You don't accept it? You can admit it. Okay. And how many believe, well, karma is at work, cause and effect is at work in some ways, but not universally, partially true? And how many are sort of karmic agnostics that, you don't know. Maybe it's real and maybe it's not. Well, you would be justified in being skeptical. Does what goes around really come around? Do we really reap what we sow? In some ways, it's obvious that it's true. If I drive 20 or 30 miles over the speed limit and I get a ticket, there's cause and effect at work. If you're kind to somebody, you're likely to be repaid in a reciprocal act of kindness, or at least appreciation and gratitude. If you lie and get caught, you'll pay the consequences of your lying. And if you don't get caught, you suffer from having to worry about whether you're going to get caught. So in some ways, it's obvious. That's why we teach children not to touch the stove. There's cause and effect. But then you look around and you find that good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people, and justice is not always done, and scoundrels and crooks and wrongdoers don't always get caught, and some of them live long, healthy lives. Some even become presidents and heads of state. And at the same time, a lot of honest, kind, generous, good souls suffer and get sick and deal with loss and grief, die young. It doesn't seem fair. And this, of course, has given very smart people reasons to think about things and come up with a lot of tortured reasoning to explain this and debate this and create whole theologies around it. And in the West, for a long, long time, it came down to, if we have this certain conception of God, and how could a God that presumably knows everything and is omniscient, and at the same time is supreme goodness and all loving, how could such a God permit this or create a universe where good people suffer and bad people don't? Hard to reconcile. Either God, as we understand it, doesn't know everything or isn't always supremely good, and we're asked to accept the adage that God works in mysterious ways and we cannot comprehend it. And we have concepts like heaven and hell to try to make sense of it all. But logically, it's hard to reconcile, isn't it? And so here comes the East with the concepts of karma and reincarnation, which is a kind of complement, and in some ways a necessary complement. I did a lot of research for my book, and there are people who will explain how karma can work even in the absence of rebirth, multiple lives. I don't get it, but somehow they make it work. But one of the reasons ideas like karma and multiple lives have been so appealing to so many of us in the West is it solves the problem of the inconsistency of an omniscient God who's all good, because it removes the supreme being aspect of it. And karma is explained more like a law of nature, more like the principles in physics, where every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Just applies that same kind of principle beyond material objects to the effects of our action, the energy and vibration that our actions and our words project out into the universe, and hypothesize that that comes back to us in certain ways. And the multiple lives, I mean, it just seems more fair than a system where you have this one life that's going to determine your fate throughout eternity, as if a child's entire future is based on kindergarten performance. It gives us multiple lives to get it right, to learn the lessons and matriculate and move and progress and learn the right lessons as we go along. So that, for many of us, karma explains a lot. It gives us a sense that the universe is a fair place, even if we can't always figure out how it's working. But you would be justified to say, I'm not buying it. Maybe they're sophisticated concepts that were made up by spiritual teachers in the East to make people feel better, to make them feel the universe is just when it doesn't seem to be the case, or to make people behave. It's your karma. It's going to come back to you, so you better behave. It's, Santa knows if you've been naughty or nice. It's just a different version. So the skepticism would be perfectly valid. And here I am, having written a book about karma, and learning that very brilliant people have made very strong arguments in favor of it and opposed to it. But there's no hard evidence. You can't prove it scientifically. I certainly can't. I would have difficulty persuading a cynic about karma that it's real. I can't marshal enough evidence. It's just not obvious. There are indications. The growth of science, especially in the last 100 years or so, kind of gives us reason to think karma might be a plausible way to understand the universe. Science has told us that everything is connected, and that everything is vibration, everything is energy. If everything's connected, and when I go like this, it affects you not only hear it, but somehow the vibration moves through the universe. And we have these strange phenomena that quantum scientists have discovered, where pairs of subatomic particles affect one another at insanely long distances throughout the universe. So that gives us some sense that it might be real, but again, you can't possibly prove it. And I don't expect that science will prove karma, at least not in my lifetime. So now I'm promoting this book, and so everybody expects me to answer the question, is karma real? And I can't prove it. And my own journey with the concept of karma that I was introduced to half a century or more ago and contemplated, I've come more and more to think it's more likely to be true than not. It feels right to me, intuitively. I get a sense that karma is real. it makes sense rationally, even though I can't prove it. It feels right, even though I fought it and didn't want to believe it's true because it flies in the face of what I see out there. Sometimes. But sometimes it seems karma's at work. So I came down, and what I advocate is, since we can't prove it, does it feel right to you? And more important, perhaps, if you have a choice whether to reject the possibility that what we reap what we sow, or to lean in the direction that it's likely to be true, and it could be true, and favor that outcome as opposed to rejecting it, then you'll be a better person. And that's what I came down to. Because I noticed, when I'm about to make a decision, if I have a choice, if I'm conscious and I think, oh, karma, what I do, what I say, the actions I take, the decisions I make, if I do this, it will come back to me in a good way. If I do that, if karma is real, it'll come back to me in a way I wouldn't like. So I'll assume karma is real because I'll make better choices if I do. And when I do, because I've noticed this in myself and others, oh yeah, karma, maybe I should do the right thing after all. But no one will know. And the devil on the other shoulder, no one will know, God. Oh, karma. So if karma is true, if you act as if it's true and make those choices, and enough people act as if it's true, the world is a better place because you're doing the right thing. You're doing the moral thing, the ethical thing, the kind thing, the generous thing, the loving thing, the compassionate thing, as opposed to the selfish and greedy and nasty, vengeful things.
And guilt-ridden. Guilt-ridden, right?
Yes, and that actually, she said, guilt-ridden. That's one of the ways. No, it's okay, because you remind me, that's one of the ways that very smart people, I think St. Augustine, Ralph Waldo Emerson, certain Eastern sages, one of the ways they explain how karma works is they say, well, these people doing bad things, they don't seem to be being punished, but they're living with this guilt and shame, which presumes they have a conscience. And not everybody does, and there are psychopaths. And so we know this. But then there's the other element. Are they respected? Are they loved? Do they have contentment? Are they happy? That's another level. It's not always on the surface. And any good psychotherapist will tell you they have very successful, people living the good life who are miserable. And we all know there are people who are poor and people who are suffering. We know them, maybe we are them, and we can still have love and contentment and joy in our lives. I've gone to India many times. I've known very poor people who are very happy. And I've known rich people and famous people, not so much. So karma works in mysterious ways, if it's real. But we can't prove it. But we do have a choice, as we always do. That's one of the things I like about the theory of karma. It presumes free will. Karma is not destiny. It's not fate. We often think of it that way. We have a lot of misconceptions about karma. And one of them is that, well, it's my karma. No. Everything you do, everything you have done in the past has brought you to this moment. Everything that happens to you is the consequence, not of one thing you did necessarily, but a whole confluence of complicated actions and reactions over time that created a moment and an event and something in the present. But now you're in the present experience, and you have a choice. How do you deal with this? How do you react to the moment? What do you do? What do you decide to do? What do you say? And those decisions create karma in the moment that will affect you going forward. You're creating your karma at every moment. And you're experiencing the result of past karma in every moment. And it's not all bad. You all have the good karma of being here. Not because I'm here, but because you're thinking about karma. And that's, in a sense, your good karma. Your good karma to know about this place and to experience this place and come back to this place and have whatever it is that brings you back. That's some good karma. Not everybody has that. I have to remind people all the time that when we use the word karma, we're not just talking about retribution and punishment. That's what people think, and that's what, the pop songs that have karma in them. It's all about, you done me wrong and now you're going to get it, and that it's not, but it's, the good stuff is karma too. Everything, when you have love in your life, when you have success in your life, when you have pleasure in your life, that's good karma. You may notice I'm reluctant to use the words reward and punish, rewards and punishment, because that makes it look like there's a magistrate, deity, assigning guilt and innocence and doling out sentences. It's not like that. It's just energy. You do something like it will come back to you in some form or another. In any event, my bottom line, now that I'm an author who's written a book about karma and therefore an expert, my bottom line is, if you lean in the direction that karma might be true, you'll make smarter decisions. And if karma is true, you'll benefit from it. And if it's not, what have you lost? You're doing good. You're doing the right thing. You'll feel better about yourself at the very least. People will be grateful. And you'll be setting a good example. And God knows young people these days need better examples than what they see in the media and in television. So anyway, karma, assuming it's true, is kind of interesting, and it's not as simple as you think. In some ways, it's very simple. My grandmother used to say, be nice. Okay, 2-word answer to everything. be nice. Be nice, good karma. But life is complicated. It's not always obvious what the right thing to do is. Not always obvious why you shouldn't do the wrong thing. And it's subtle, it's nuanced, and there's much to be discussed and much to be learned. Otherwise, I would have written a 2-word book. And otherwise, there would be no 2.5-hour workshop this afternoon because, it would all be just simple. No, it's kind of more complicated, and there's much to be learned. So we'll do that this afternoon. We'll talk not only about, because life is in layers, and karma is in layers. It's not just what we do. It's what we think and what we feel and what we intend and what our motivations are and the choices we make. It gets interesting. A lot more interesting than I thought it would be when I started writing this book. And so I hope you can join us. And if you can't, just be nice. But if you join us, we'll have some fun, and it'll be interesting and a good way to spend a couple of hours. So once again, thank you for facilitating my good karma by inviting me back. And I hope to see you, what time? Noon? And high noon at the, and otherwise just, do the right thing. Thank you.